G'day fellas, and welcome to another video about Age of Empires 4, where we've got some pretty damn big news. In this video, we're going to be talking about the huge changes that are coming to the PUP. That is correct. This is going to be the brand new patch notes that are coming in. But before that, let's talk about an update to Ranked Season 1 that is happening right now. So if you've been on Reddit, if you've been on the official forums, you would have noticed that there's quite a lot of people complaining that they never seem to be really going up in Ranked. And guess what? There is a reason why. It was bugged. Go figure. Go figure. Age of Bugs continues. Indeed, there was a bug. So apparently, what was happening is when you would go into a game, your enemy would potentially win up to a total of 0 points. With a maximum, or I should say up to a total of 35 points, with the maximum, or rather the minimum that they could win was 0. Okay, and by the same token for you had the potential to lose only 0, but up to a maximum of 40. And the problem is, if you take these averages away, essentially what's happening is every game that's played, the game is just losing 2.5, or the ladder is losing 2.5 rating. So let's say you and your friend Jimmy Joe Bob play against each other 1,000 times. You guys might start off in gold 3, but by the end of your 1,000 games, you would end up in silver 2. Because by that time, you've just continued to both lose rating. Neither of you is gaining any rating. As long as it's 50-50, right? Now, the problem is where if you extrapolate that over the course of everybody that's playing, 10,000 people, then what happens is everybody's losing rating. Now, obviously, there are going to be those shining stars that break through, your Muslims, your Beastie Cuties, and they managed to get up to like 2,600 points. But in this case, that's not the way that it went. So what have they fixed? They've fixed it so that you are guaranteed to lose at least 5 points on a loss, but you're guaranteed to win at least 10 points on a win. Also, they've made it so that your maximum is 35 points here for a win, 40 for a loss. And that essentially just makes it so that you've got a win point average here of 27.5 versus a loss point average of 25. So in here, there's two big changes. So the big thing here is that you're going from a 17.5 to a 20. And that's massive when you think about it. Basically, it just means that ranks are going to inflate a lot faster. Because unlike chess, if you guys are familiar with chess and ELO rating, or ELO rating as I like to call it, there is no time limit on that. Basically, the ratings just go forever. And so ELO works perfect there. But here where we're going for a bit more of a tiered system, where there's a time window on it, you can expect that over the course of a season now that your rating is going to improve, even if you don't, just simply because by playing more, you're naturally going to be inflating the total points that are in the actual ranked map pool. Not ranked map pool, but the ranked pool. But speaking of ranked map pools, so I hope that makes sense. I'm going to leave a link in the description for this one. It's a bug. They've fixed it up. Basically, what this means, though, is you're still going to have Beastie Cutie and Muslim sitting up on ridiculously high amounts of points. But it basically means that people at the moment who are going from Bronze 3 and they're struggling to get up to Silver, this is going to help them out a huge amount. Because if you play 200 games and you win 50 of them, well, all of a sudden, you're getting an extra 2.5 points for 50 of those games, which basically puts you up 125 points. And that's freaking massive. So I would expect that we're going to see pretty big rank inflation coming in. So this is actually going to be retrospective as well. So they're going to go back and do the math. They're going to carry the ones across and do all that math, and they're going to issue an update. So I'm expecting that my rank overnight, it's going to go from like Plastic 2 to Conqueror 3. I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure you guys are as well. But let's get through to the good stuff, the meaty stuff that we are going to be talking about. It is going to be the PUP changes, because we got some good news for you guys. I know there was a lot of people complaining about the French. Let me make that a bit bigger. I know there was a lot of people complaining about the French. Well, good news, they're getting nerfed. The French are finally getting nerfed. And you know how they decided to nerf China like 6 patches in a row every single time despite having the lowest win rate? Well, it turns out they've finally decided China can get a buff. The Imperial Academy landmark can now train Imperial officials. These two changes just by themselves, I can't tell you how happy I am with this. This is okay. where do I even start? Obviously, we could talk about the Abbasid change as well. 10% gather rate to 15%. And then Rus, a little bit of a bug fix here, so we're not going to talk too much about that. I mean, we can just start off with the Abbasid bonus. We can see the developer note here. Abbasid is a civilization successful civ late game. We've been noticing they struggle early. This boost should help them with a more competitive in the early states. And so, basically, I would expect that the new... I don't know if it's really going to change so much. I think people are still going to do wheelbarrow into fresh foodstuffs, 2TC, then into Golden Age. But you might see Golden Age come out before town centers come out, or second town centers come out, because 15% is pretty insane when you think about it. They're basically getting a tier 1 upgrade for free on every single resource. That's kind of wild. Really, really cool. So more than just bug changes there. So pretty good change there for them. For France, so their chivalry cost is going from 50 wood to 125 and 125 gold to 100 wood and 200 gold. Now you might look at that and go, that's not too much. Like it's only going up by 50 wood and 75 gold, 125 resources. It might not seem like much, but it basically makes it harder for the French to get this upgrade and harder to squeeze it into their builds. So now they actively have to make a decision. Do I want to get this tech or not? Because it wasn't too much of a thought process before. I'm expecting that because of this, we're going to start to see longer feudals coming out of the French because you do want to get this, but it's going to mean that, you know, those French players that go for 2 nights in a fast castle or 2 nights into a fast second town center, well, they're not going to be able to continue reusing those nights because they're not going to be able to afford chivalry as easily anymore. So this is a great change, and this is exactly where French needed to be heard. Now, there was some other crazy suggestions going on, like chivalry being moved to age 3. I think this is a perfect middle ground here for a French nerf, and it really cuts away from their power. It still keeps it true to their identity. They've got these unique knights. They're very cool, and they heal up in the feudal age, but it makes it a bit more expensive, so I do like this a lot. I think it's a great change, and I'm looking forward to it. And then finally, a Chinese buff. The Imperial Academy Landmark can now train Imperial officials, something that I have asked for in the past, and something that I am glad to see coming through. And basically, this means you're a little bit more flexible in your Chinese openings now, because one of the big things about China, when you go for that Song Dynasty, what happens is that your villages are created every 13 seconds. So if you've got one Imperial official and you're in Song Dynasty and you're thinking like, oh, I don't really want to make any Imperial officials because if I make an Imperial official, that's going to be 20 seconds. So I'm going to be losing out time there. And so essentially what this does is it says you can now make villages out of your town center full time and get your Imperial officials whenever you want to with your Imperial Academy. So I think this is a freaking awesome change. I love this so much, and I think it's going to help out China a lot because it might not seem like a huge amount, but it really does start to add up. Just to give you an idea, because like you're not only getting, like, you would look at this and think, okay, this is 3 extra villages. This isn't 3 extra villages. This is more than 3 extra villages, because if you wanted to train those Imperial officials in town centers, that's 3 times 20 seconds. That's 60 seconds. How much would a town center make in that same 60 seconds? That would make more than 4 villages, because a villager takes 13 seconds. 13 times 4, you're looking at what, 56 seconds? So still, you're talking about 4.4 villagers potentially. That is a huge buff to Chinese early game. Now, you don't always get those villagers super duper early, or those Imperial officials, but it's great to see. I'm so stoked with this. Now, we can also talk about some of the other changes as well that are coming in for the pup that are going to be coming in on Season 2. So the big one is the maps changing for Season 2. So the ranked map pool in particular, as you can see for quick maps, we've got the pit that is coming in for quick match. We've also got mega random that's now in quick match. But the big thing for me is the ranked maps in Season 2. So there's a whole bunch of new maps that are coming in, including updates to 2 previous maps. So we're going to be taking a look at that. So obviously King of the Hill, you guys will be familiar with that from Golden League. We saw that plenty of times out there. But the big changes here are for Mongolian Heights and Ancient Spires. Now, I'll show you guys the pit as well at the end of this, but I want to show you first and foremost Ancient Spires, because I'm excited about this map because it is going to be home of the Chinese. I can almost guarantee you, China was already really good on this map, but now they're going to be even better. So what have they done on this map? How have they made it better than what they did before? How have they made it a little bit more fairer? So basically, every pond now spawns with 5 fish. That is it. Every single pond gets 5 fish. But in addition to that, everybody now gets a pond close to their base. So you can see here I am as the pink Chinese player. Over on the other side, I've got the blue French player, and you can see that he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ponds, or 5 fish in his pond. And at the same time, over up here, we've got 5 fish in this pond, 5 fish in this pond, and 5 fish in this pond. So every pond has got 5 fish. And so that really opens up a lot of options for you when you're sort of sitting in the early game and you're like, oh, well, I don't know what I should do. So I guess number one is obviously if you're playing China or any other civ, you can chuck a mill down here. But I don't think people are going to be looking to chuck mills down here. I think 5 fish is more than enough to argue for an early dock. And that's why I think China is going to be insanely good on this map. But that single change is just going to really change the way that this map is. And obviously coming in on ranked as well, it is going to be another water map. But it's definitely going to change the dynamic up a little bit. I'm not sure exactly what that is. It looks like a stone mine that's been mined out, but there's no chance of that happening just yet. But you can see even with these larger ponds, okay, you've still got, there's 4 fish there. Hold on, shouldn't there be a 5th fish? Oh my lord. Am I missing one? That's all. Oh, yeah, I was missing one. There it is. There it is. So if I do it, there we go. 5 fish in this pond. So every single pond has got 5 fish. So this is a super good change. I love this one. I think this is going to be great. I mean, other than that, not a lot of changes. Still 2 sacred sites on this map. There used to be 3, but they removed it down to 2. Or moved it down to 2. The next change comes in on Mongolian Heights. So we'll make sure that we go get French. And so Mongolian Heights, you guys will be familiar with this one from the ranked ladder. It is a map that is somewhat notorious because you typically see Holy Roman Empire, Mongols, and China on this map a lot. Well, I'm expecting it's going to be opened up a significant amount because guess what? They have opened up the crossings a huge amount. You're still going to have those crossings, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to wall now because not only are they bigger, take a look how damn big those crossings are. That is a chonker right there. Look at that one. That's a 45 to wall. But there are 2 crossings. There are 3 crossings. There are 4 crossings. And of course, there are 5 crossings. So if you really want to wall this off, it's going to take you 250 wood to do every single crossing. So with that, you'd expect that it's going to be a pretty decent change to the way that this game plays. Now, of course, you've still got your shore fish that are in here. No deep sea fish, of course. Interestingly, there's no fish that spawn on the crossings either, so it basically limits to where you can actually expand with your fish. But I think this is a great change. We've also seen the sacred sites brought in, so typically we did see them up towards the corner. That's not going to be the case anymore. Instead, we've got the trade posts that are on the corners. You did typically see the sacred sites on the opposite corners from the trade post, so you'd have a sacred site here, trade post here with a sacred site down on this corner. But now it seems that this corner has been opened up. With regard to sheep, I don't know if they've made any changes to sheep, but it definitely kind of feels like it. There's a distinct absence of sheep on this map now, so we might have to change our scouting patterns. Oh, there you go. There you go. Never mind. We found him. So that is also going to be a factor, but I'll show you guys the final map if I haven't already, or if you haven't seen it already. It is going to be the pit. So the pit is a pretty cool map. Now, this is going to be in ranked as well. Now, remember, if you're not liking these maps, you're going to be able to veto them, okay? That's the big thing, all right? You're going to have access to vetoes when it comes to this. I can show you that quickly. If we just go into quick match, map preference, I can choose to downvote maps that I don't want. Now, obviously, I'm in quick match at the moment. Ranked is disabled, but you can see I've got a preference of 3 that I can put in there. And when you consider the fact, you know, so the maps that you're playing on here, Altai, Ancient Spires, Dry Arabia, Highview, Hillendale, King of the Hill, Lipany, Mongolian Heights, and the Pit. It is all of these maps here. So I've got 3 vetoes. So I can say, all right, let's say I'm playing France. What maps don't I want to play as France? Well, I don't want to play Hillendale. Maybe I probably don't want to play King of the Hill, and I don't want to play Mongolian Heights. Well, now I've got Ancient Spires are still in there. So you can see it becomes a little bit more awkward, right? Because now as France, well, I've got a water map there. So maybe I keep King of the Hill in and then downvote, you know, Mongolian Heights and Ancient Spires. Maybe that's how I play it. Maybe I put Hillendale in, or Hillendale in, get King of the Hill in out of there. Something like that. Maybe if I'm playing China, you know, I don't want to play the open maps. I want to play the closed maps. I'm going to get rid of Dry Arabia. I'm going to get rid of Highview, and I'm going to get rid of Lipany. And I'm a happy camper, but it still leaves the Pit in. It still leaves Altai in, and still leaves, you know, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, that's a pretty good China map pool. I'd be very happy with that play in China. But let's take a look at the Pit. That is going to be the new map that's coming into. This is a brand new map. It's coming into both ranked play as well as quick play, or quick match. So let's jump in and see if we can find it. Interestingly, they didn't put French Pass in the map pool for ranked. I kind of thought they would have. It's a pretty decent map now. What am I looking for? The Pit. All right, so we've got everything set up for that. Let's go into it. So the pit, it's a pretty open map. It's got very safe wood lines, a lot of wood, and you do spawn very close to your enemy. This is an interesting thing. Now, I guess one thing to also note is I'm using the different viewpoint here. So you will notice that I've got like a bit of a weird view here. That is because I've got the different observing or different camera options. So you can see I've got panoramic camera mode, which is turned on at the moment. But so we spawn off. So we've got one close wood line. So if you remember playing King of the Hill before they changed it, you had like one small tree line like this, and then you had the big wood line. Well, take a look how big that wood line is behind your base. That is just absolutely menacing. And I suspect like it's gonna be so hard to tower rush this. Like you throw down a tower like right here. Okay, great. I'm just going to put a lumber camp there. And then they throw down like a tower over here somewhere. And it's like, oh, I'll just move over here. Or I just move over here. Like there's so much wood on this map. But I mean, let's take a look at it. So as you can see in the center, there are those two large gold veins that you've got. Now, both of these gold veins spawn on either side of a sacred site. This is pretty key because you're not going to be able to wall across that sacred site. You can obviously get a wall in between these two things, but it's a pretty decent size, playing field that we've got here. There seems to be quite a fair bit of wolves on this map as well. So I'm not sure if it could be a bit of a Rus favored map, but if you're trying to wall this map off, like let's say hypothetically you're playing China like I am, and you're thinking about walling, how would you do it? You'd probably chuck a wall down there, make sure you cancel the pillars. Let's try and cancel those pillars. Oh god, hitboxes. And then, I mean, you've got another little opening over here that you could try and like, okay, let's say we wall that one there. And then you've got this big opening in the middle. Like you can see, it's possible, but it's freaking hard. I mean, to be fair, you could probably just put the Barbican here, right? And then, but like, yeah, I don't think you can wall it. And take a look how long it's going to take to wall these ones. Hold on, let's cancel this. Give me a second here. Get these out of here. So that's been walled off completely. But if we have a look at this wall, let's say I wanted to wall off all of the resources on this side. So you're talking about 100 wood. So that's a fair investment. Definitely possible, though. Definitely possible. And quite an easy way to control the narrative. And of course, if you haven't noticed by now, you can choose your color when it comes to ranked as well as to quick play as well as custom games. So that is going to be damn exciting. I'm looking forward to that, honestly. It might seem like the smallest change, but I guarantee you it's the best change that there is. But overall, I mean, this is definitely a positive for me. I'm really happy to see China getting an actual buff here in the early game because it's 100% what it needed. By the same token, I'm really happy to see that French gets a nerf because it's kind of curious to me that, like, despite seeing the presence of France at the top of the ladder for so many maps, so many players, like there are players that are playing with a French-only account in the top 10 right now, and then there are people that have got, or that same player has got like a non-French account, and the French account is 500 rating above the non-French account. Like, that's the difference right now between French and other civilizations, and obviously that's one example. I'm not saying that if you pick up the French right now, you're going to gain 500 rating, but you can see that there's definitely some credit to be given to anybody who thinks that a French nerf is the right direction. So I think overall these are great changes. I'm super happy with this, and I feel like the mood, at least for me now, is shifting a little bit. Obviously, I'm still really disappointed with the direction of the changes with pyrotechnics, but we'll have to see how it plays out. But other than that, fellas, I hope you guys have enjoyed this look at the brand new changes that are coming in, as well as, of course, those new ranked points. You can expect to see a little bit more ranking now for all your hard work. And obviously, that's retrospective as well. So anyway, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.